Welcome. We're having audio issues. We're just asking our technicians to see what is happening. Our last broadcast was not to T, so we're just going to go and check if everything is okay. You will forgive the multiple lives that we're having. We're genuinely having a lot of issues when it comes to our audio. Just need to see how everything is going. Seems as if our audio is okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Malawi commemorates its 61st year of independence and the 31st anniversary of multi-party democratic governance. This is a pivotal moment in history, or the pivotal moment in history occurred when the nation transitioned from Nyasaland to Malawi. This journey has been marked by a tapestry of experiences encompassing both positive and negative recollections. As a collective entity, we are grappled with challenges posed by rapid population growth, juxtaposed against an economy that remained modest and inert, struggling to sustain the burgeoning populace. The dichotomy between demographic expansion and economic stagnation presented formidable hurdles for the nation. Furthermore, Malawi is confronted by the profound impact of both natural calamities and human-induced disasters. These adversities precipitated the collapse of nearly all sectors integral to our well-being. The consequences were widespread, affecting the very fabric of our society and its foundational elements. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the opening statement of Muvi Wachilungamo's manifesto. Malawi is a resilient country with resilient people, and it is a shame for Malawi to be now known as the weakest link when it comes to all African nations. And this is something that we said yesterday. Fortunately, our live could not be heard clearly. It is embarrassing that our nation, when averaged out with other nations across Africa, we are always called the weakest link. According to our GDP, we're always the ones who are pulling the rest of the average down. It is embarrassing for Malawi to be in this sort of situation. There has to be change, very, very deep change. Big things need to happen, and this can only happen if it is that we adopt a rational mindset when it comes to voting, when it comes to choosing our leaders. And especially now, during voter season, it's very, very, very easy to get taken away by the political festival that is happening currently in Malawi. Yesterday I posed the question, I asked, why is it that when there are famines, when there's drought, when there's horrendous things going on in the country and many citizens are losing their lives, your government tells you that there is no money. However, when it is time for campaigning, all of a sudden money comes out of thin air. Yesterday we spoke about how our government, the MCP government that is currently in power, has failed Malawi dismally. Has blamed all factors outside of their control instead of speaking about the things that were in their control. MCP's reign has shown a lack of governance and a lack of knack and a lack of listening to its citizens. And Muvi Wachilungamo wants to come in and we want to change the narrative. We want to bring mindset change. And because everything has fallen in Malawi ever since 1964 till date, industries have been collapsing. Malawi has reached rock bottom, especially with the cost of living crisis that is happening right now and how much the currency has been devalued, and that leading to a whole lot of inflation happening in the country. Food security is not something that a nation is supposed to be dealing with. Many African countries that surround us are not dealing with such backward issues. It's time for Malawi to step into the future. And as a representative of the youth, stepping into the future means being able to access the very same technologies that other countries are accessing. We have US, we have Europe, we have all of these different players on the world stage pushing boundaries when it comes to AI, when it comes to all of these different technologies. We literally have governments where there is no paperwork. Papers are becoming obsolete. Everybody is now able to carry digital IDs, digital licenses. That's a reality that the world is moving towards. Yet, that is not a reality that a Malawian youth aged 18 or lower can even dream of. And it's embarrassing. Now, the foundational pillar of any country should be its education. And this has been the campaign that MRP has been pushing way before election season came. And that is the need for mindset change, that is the need for education, that is the need for secondary schools to be given more attention. It is a need for money to be rechanneled into channels that will help develop Malawi, help develop the country. So number one is education. But unfortunately, we cannot look at education, we cannot look at STEM, science, technology, engineering and mathematics. We cannot look at all of these different aspects of technology and increasing the IQ of the nation if it is that we're living in a nation where we cannot feed ourselves. Hungry students do not want to learn. Hungry students do not want to look 5 years into the future, 10 years into the future. Hungry students do not want to look 2 years into the future. So MRP and CIC and the entire cohort, the Executive Council, have put together a manifesto, and for these upcoming days up until we hit September 16, we're going to be breaking down our manifesto to you, the Malawian citizens, and we're going to be leaving the choice to you, the choice for you to be made. And I'm not appealing to senior citizens here. Although I would want to appeal to senior citizens, because what legacy do they leave behind? But I am appealing more than anything to the youth. Across the entire African continent, the large majority of souls on the African soil are youth. So, coming back to the point that a hungry nation does not want to educate itself, Muvi Wachilungamo wants to focus on agriculture. We have noticed that the world is moving away from tobacco, and tobacco is what has fueled Malawi for many generations. But we need to begin to diversify our agricultural industry. We need to begin to bring on more technologically expensive means of harvesting, of creating food for the nation. We need to make sure that Malawi is fed. We need to create climate conscious solutions. We need to create solutions that can curb drought. We need to create irrigation systems. These are technologies that are all over the place, and it kind of feels embarrassing for me to be sitting in front of you and telling you about irrigation. Something that in other countries is something that is just adopted without even thinking about it. After creating this climate-resistant solutions, Muvi Wachilungamo wants to bring preservation initiatives, and this has been something that we've been speaking about for a long time now. A lot of food goes to waste. And it's very, very funny that Malawi wastes food, yet we are known as a hungry nation. We need to create factories where we can preserve our food in order for us to eat throughout the entire year. And that's not something that is really done in Malawi. Yet Malawi is an equatorial country. It's one of the countries that can plant food for the entire year or harvest for the entire year if we were to set our minds onto it. So we need to leave the hose behind. We need to leave old ways of farming behind. And we need to adopt new methods of farming. We need to buy tractors. We need to buy combined harvesters. We need to see big things happening in Malawi, specifically in the agricultural industry. We need to focus on feeding the country. And once the country is fed, and once we have a good amount of stock for our people, then we can only move forward to education. And within the educational sector, we need to educate all, starting from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high. Whether you're 50 years old and you only finished standard 4, standard 5, it shouldn't matter. We need to have classes that are tailored toward older people who want to educate themselves and better themselves and be able to educate their children too. These are initiatives that we're not seeing in the country currently. We need to have an emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We need more engineers to build tomorrow. We need more engineers to build the new Malawi. So these two industries, very, very important industries. After that, Muvi Wachilungamo wants to focus on business. We need to create business studies in our schools in order to create critically thinking students who can not only employ, but employ themselves. We need to increase our technology initiatives. We need to push out computer studies. We need to modernize, rapidly modernize and revolutionarily modernize Malawi currently as it is. It is election season, ladies and gentlemen, and you're going to be hearing promises from left to right. Many political parties are going to be standing in front of you and they're going to be telling you all of the different things that you should do. And Muvi Wachilungamo, although we want us to be elected and we want our vision to be implemented in government because we truly have love for this nation, more than anything, we want Malawians to make the right decision. We care more about the next 5 years of this country more than we care about politics. So ladies and gentlemen, here are a couple of things that you as a voter need to look out for. You need to know your voter registration status. You need to understand parties and their promises. Read our manifesto. Understand our manifesto. Understand what we're saying. Understand what we're promising. and understand if whether the promises that we're giving you in this matches what you want for your future. See, people can sleep in shacks, people can sleep under bridges, people can go through the most horrendous of situations as long as they know that tomorrow will be better. And that hope is what MRP wants to capitalize. That hope is what MRP wants to revitalize. One party rule failed us, and it seems multi-party dispensation failed us, English. And it seems as if we're losing hope. So you need to understand these manifestos. You need to understand what is being written in them. If you need somebody to translate them, find ways to translate them. Know what you are voting for. Understand your electoral system. Understand how MEC works. And we've already seen 2 stories rise up about MEC in the newspapers as of recent. We need to guard MEC, especially because in our last elections we had electoral irregularities. So you need to keep a very strong eye on MEC. More than anything else, you need to hold your politicians accountable. You need to be able to ask your politicians if it is that they are in the game for power or they are here to genuinely serve Malawian citizens. Your president stands up in front of you and he thanks you. He tells you lies about the things that he did in the past. He tells you lies about the things that he will do in the future. But he's not giving you the avenues and the means and the channels to ask him direct, hard-hitting questions. And that's something that Muvi Wachilungamo wants you to think about. This is why our channels are open for questions, they're open for voice notes, they're open for any criticisms, and we're open for discussion. More than anything, we want to incite a logical thinking. The future is Malawi's. The future is ours to take, and the future is for us to create. But right now we don't need lofty ideals. Yes, we can move away from hoes and we can move to agriculture. But there's steps that we need to go through before we reach there. And you as the citizen, you need to critically question us about how we're going to reach those steps. So ladies and gentlemen, this is my second episode for the MRP Youth Wing. And tomorrow we're going to be delving deeper into this beautiful document that has been put together by very, very, very intelligent souls, very, very intelligent minds within MRP. Because MRP is not for the CIC, MRP is not for me, MRP is for Malawi. And this document was created by Malawi for Malawi. And we'll be delving deeper and deeper into it as the time goes on. So ladies and gentlemen, my name is James. And we'll be back for another episode tomorrow. And the day after that, and the day after that. Thank you.